What's up, Scapers? It's your boy Takiru here. We're waiting for the game to catch up. I clicked here about a minute ago. Well, that's okay. If it wants to show off my backside, that's fine with me, because look what's on my back. This may supersede my previous coolest cape on the alt, which was coolest cape on the alt, which was the untrimmed construction cape. The game is seemingly broken. I guess we'll restart it again. There we go. What's up, Scapers? It's your boy Takiru here. The first, the worst, homeless mobile daily streamer. Back at it again. Today we're going to do some skilling while we watch some League prep videos. There's lots of great videos that have been released by Old School RuneScape themselves and by many other content creators that I'd like to share with you guys and do kind of a watch-along react video. I've never done one of these, so I don't know exactly how, other than just to shout out the creators that I show to give them credit, you know, because that's obviously not my content. But we're going to show off what we can. Alright. We're going to start off with logging into YouTube here. Hopefully I'm on the right account. I should have probably figured this out before I started the stream. So we're doing the watch along. Let's see, we're on the wrong account. I was watching the Angry Video Game Nerd earlier. He's got a new episode. Alright, so I have a playlist here. 19 freaking videos long. Alright, so we're going to watch some videos by Old School RuneScape, one by No Monkey, and then there's a bunch by Little Rat Bags that I included here. So we're just going to start watching them and start skilling.
November the 27th marks a very special day, the launch of Leagues 5 Raging Echoes. I'm Scritic and I make a lot of Leagues related content. But today, Jagex have entrusted me to deliver some really exciting news about this upcoming league. If you've been living under a rock for the last 4 years, you might not know what a league is, so let me quickly explain. Raging Echoes League is a temporary game mode spanning 8 weeks with boosted XP rates, drop rates, and passive buffs. Everyone will be playing under
How big this?
The Iron Man game rules, but with a twist. You start locked only to Mistalin and Karamja, and have the ability to unlock 3 further regions, including the new region of Varlamore this time. How do you unlock regions exactly? Well, I'm glad you asked. League tasks are the name of the game, and range from defeating that first poor goblin you come across, to chopping your first tree, all the way up to end game raids. Trust me when I say that the dopamine of ticking off task after task and seeing that pop up never gets old. And you'll be able to unlock your first, second and third regions by completing a certain number of tasks. And that's not all, because completing league tasks also rewards you with league points, and these are important. Upon reaching certain league point thresholds, you'll be able to unlock relics. These are powerful, permanent buffs to your character that alter a gameplay style of your choice. Want to instantly process and bank items you gather? No problem. Have you got an excess amount of GP and want to use that to train prayer? It's possible. I think you get the picture. So let me tell you all why I'm really here today. In line with the titular theme of Leagues 5, Echo bosses are a new feature. These are powerful variants of existing bosses with beefed up hit points and added mechanics for a fresh challenge. More importantly though, they drop new, never before seen items. There's one Echo boss per region, excluding the starting regions of Mistlin and Karamja, so don't panic, you won't have to deal with Jad spawning a set of more Jads, that spawn a set of more Jads, that spawn a set of more Jads, you get the idea. To access an Echo boss, you'll need to beat the regular version of that boss, and in doing so, there's a chance that that boss will drop an Echo Orb. These are region specific, and can be used to permanently access the Echo version of that region's boss. Now, I'm not going to spoil what each one of these new challenges have in store for you, but let me take you on a grand tour around Gelenor for a sneak peek at the new exciting drops from these Echo bosses. Oh, and if you happen to have planned any of your League's region choices ahead of now, then get ready to have those plans turned upside down and your mind truly blown, because this is going to change everything. Alright, the first stop on our tour is the Caridian Desert, just southwest of the Shanty Pass. Deep underground is the Calphite Lair. The Calphite Queen resides in the depths and will award any challengers who can defeat its Echo variant with a chance to obtain a powerful ranged weapon befitting of the desert's characteristics, the Drygore Blowpipe. Just like its toxic variant, the Drygore Blowpipe uses darts for ammunition, which are conveniently unlocked for fletching after completing the Tourist Trap quest. The Drygore Blowpipe is incredibly fast and accurate, working like a ranged version of the Osmundan's Fang. Its built-in passive rolls for accuracy twice before taking the highest result, all while attacking at a lightning 2-tick attack speed. I can think of some keen desert enthusiasts who will be very happy with a strong ranged option that will make light work of most of the desert denizens. Next, we're headed to the region of Asgarnia, and for this one, we're gonna need 91 Slayer and a Hellhound Slayer task, because we're headed deep into the Tavali dungeon to find everyone's favourite hell puppy, Cerberus. If you're lucky enough to obtain the Asgarnia.
Welcome back to the best time to be an old school.
November the 27th marks a very special day, the launch of Leagues 5 Raging Echoes. I'm Scritic and I make a lot of Leagues related content, but today Jagex have entrusted me to deliver some really exciting news about this upcoming league. If you've been living under a rock for the last 4 years, you might not know what a league is, so let me quickly explain. Raging Echoes League is a temporary game mode spanning 8 weeks with boosted XP rates, drop rates, and passive buffs. Everyone will be playing under Iron Man game rules, but with a twist. You start locked only to Mistlin and Karamja, and have the ability to unlock 3 further regions, including the new region of Varlamore this time. How do you unlock regions exactly? Well, I'm glad you asked. League tasks are the name of the game, and range from defeating that first poor goblin you come across, to chopping your first tree, all the way up to end game raids. Trust me when I say that the dopamine of ticking off task after task and seeing that pop up never gets old. And you'll be able to unlock your first, second, and third regions by completing a certain number of tasks. And that's not all, because completing league tasks also rewards you with league points, and these are important. Upon reaching certain league point thresholds, you'll be able to unlock relics. These are powerful, permanent buffs to your character that alter a gameplay style of your choice. Want to instantly process and bank items you gather? No problem. Have you got an excess amount of GP and want to use that to train prayer? It's possible. I think you get the picture. So let me tell you all why I'm really here today. In line with the titular theme of Leagues 5, Echo Bosses are a new feature. These are powerful variants of existing bosses with beefed up hit points and added mechanics for a fresh challenge. More importantly though, they drop new, never before seen items. There's one Echo Boss per region, excluding the starting regions of Mistlin and Karamja, so don't panic, you won't have to deal with Jad, spawning a set of more Jads, that spawn a set of more Jads, that spawn a set of more Jads, that... You get the idea. To access an Echo Boss, you'll need to beat the regular version of that boss. And in doing so, there's a chance that that boss will drop an Echo Orb. These are region specific and can be used to permanently access the Echo version of that region's boss. Now, I'm not going to spoil what each one of these new challenges have in store for you, but let me take you on a grand tour around Galenor for a sneak peek at the new exciting drops from these Echo Bosses. Oh, and if you happen to have planned any of your League's region choices ahead of now, then get ready to have those plans turned upside down and your mind truly blown, because this is going to change everything. Alright, the first stop on our tour is the Caridian Desert. Just southwest of the Shanty Pass and deep underground is the Cowfight Lair. The Cowfight Queen resides in the depths and will award any challengers who can defeat its Echo variant with a chance to obtain a powerful ranged weapon befitting of the desert's characteristics. The Drygore Blowpipe. Just like its toxic variant, the Drygore Blowpipe uses darts for ammunition, which are conveniently unlocked for fletching after completing the Tourist Trap quest. The Drygore Blowpipe is incredibly fast and accurate, working like a ranged version of the Osmonton's Fang. Its built-in passive rolls for accuracy twice before taking the highest result, all while attacking at a lightning 2-tick attack speed. I can think of some keen desert enthusiasts who will be very happy with a strong ranged option that will make light work of most of the desert denizens. Next, we're headed to the region of Asgarnia, and for this one, we're going to need 91 Slayer and a Hellhound Slayer task, because we're headed deep into the Tavily dungeon to find everyone's favourite hell puppy, Cerberus. If you're lucky enough to obtain the Asgarnia Echo Orb, you'll no longer need a Slayer task to fight the Echo variant of Cerberus. Now, have you ever wondered what it would be like if you could forge all of the God Swords into one? Well, Echo Cerberus makes that a reality, as it will have a chance to drop the Dog Sword.
Whoever came up with that name is a genius. For 50.
For anybody who's wondering, just in case we have problems with, fair use and stuff like that, I just want to say.
My commentary makes this transformative. This Christmas.
Thank you so much, folks. This Christmas, my commentary makes this transformative. Continue.
50% of your special attack energy, the Dog Sword will hit a target and apply every single God Sword effect. Freezing, healing, reducing defenses, increased accuracy, and even more damage. The Dog Sword does it all. And who knows, if you're lucky enough to pair this with a relic that enhances your special attacks, this has some insane potential. Let me talk to you guys about the Wilderness. It's sprawling with bosses, all suitable candidates for an Echo variant, but there is one boss here that has stood the test of time, and you can find it just west of the lava maze. The King Black Dragon. There aren't any requirements to access this boss, so grab your anti-dragonfire shields because this Echo variant can drop not one, but 2 Echo items. The Thunder Kopesh and the Thousand Dragon Ward. The Thunder Kopesh is a powerful sickle-shaped slashing sword, imbued with the power of thunder and lightning. When attacking with the Thunder Kopesh, you'll have a 20% chance to summon a lightning bolt. This deals area of effect damage in a 3x3 area around your target, especially useful for getting through groups of monsters quickly. The Kopesh's special attack takes this effect one step further, and for 50% of your special attack energy, you'll quickly attack twice. If either of those hits successful, an additional lightning bolt is summoned for up to 100% of the original attack's max hit.
Cheers, folks.
This weapon is insanely strong, and even does full damage against the corporeal beast. But before I get carried away, let me tell you guys about the Thousand Dragon Ward. Strong attack bonuses with more melee strength than a defender, and some beefy defensive bonuses to round it off. But what really makes the Thousand Dragon Ward special is its passive effect. While wielding the Thousand Dragon Ward, you will be immune to pretty much all negative status effects. Dragonfire, Desert Heat, Poison, Venom, and many, many more. These 2 items combined are making the wilderness look extremely promising this year. Wildy, good. Next, we're headed into Mauritania, and I hope you all remember that I asked you to get 75 Slayer and a Gargoyle task for this one,
Thanks for
because
tuning in.
we'll
First
need
comment.
a brittle key for where we're going. On the roof of the Slayer Tower are the Grotesque Guardians. If you can get a hold of the
Says,
Mauritania
cracking a
Echo
bottle,
Orb, you
let your
won't
body
need a Slayer
waddle,
task to
smoke a
access this
spliff,
Echo
keep
variant.
feeling
And
it.
if you're good enough to come out
Crack a
on
bottle,
top,
let
there's a
your
chance
body
you'll be able
waddle,
to
smoke a
bag
spliff and
yourself
get
the
the little
Gloves
nip.
of the Damned. As far as their stats go, they're just as strong as Barrow's gloves, which is very fitting for its extremely powerful passive effect. While equipped, the Gloves of the Damned double the effectiveness of all Barrow set effects and additional set effects provided when wearing an Amulet of the Damned. And luckily for us, the gloves act as if you have an Amulet of the Damned equipped, meaning every set of Barrows gets turned into an absolute powerhouse with these gloves. Aaron's set gains a 50% chance of combat spells dealing 60% more damage. The Carol set becomes a machine gun with a 50% chance to hit a target twice. And the infamous Darok set is going to be capable of dealing up to 194% bonus damage when at 1 HP. So grab your spades and get digging. The Fremnik region is our next stop, and while there aren't any requirements to get to our destination, you'll want to be prepared with at least some overhead prayers and a pet rock. Or, you know, a friend. That'll work. On the 6th level of the Waterbirth Island dungeon are the Dagonoth Kings. Each of the Dagonoth Kings uses a different attack style, so this won't be an easy challenge. But by defeating the Echo variants, you'll have a chance to get the 2 best pieces of jewelry that Leagues 5 has to offer. The Amulet of the Monarchs and the Emperor Ring. Both of these pieces of jewelry provide incredible stat bonuses. Attack, defense, prayer bonus, melee and range strength, and of course a huge amount of magic damage as well. These 2 items really are a jack of all trades, and make Fremnik the perfect support region to pair with whatever else you're cooking up. Now, who laughed at me when I said Fremnik was going to be S tier this year?
It's a, like,
Yeah,
slight echo.
I thought so. The Kingdom of Kandarin. This place has historically been known as an especially strong region for magic users. And that's not about to change anytime soon. Just southwest of Castle Wars is the Smoke
that.
Devil dungeon.
It's so in
and you'll
time.
be able to take
He was
on the
talking about magic, he
thermonuclear
was
Smoke
said
Devil here
Hogwarts.
once you have 93 Slayer and a Smoke Devil task. But just like the other Slayer bosses, the Echo variant does not require you to have a Slayer task once you obtain the Kandarin Orb. This Echo variant of Thermi has a chance to drop an offhand item that allows you to tune into the elements of the world. and exploit weaknesses like never before. The Devil's Element. This neat little incense burning looking thing provides some generous magic accuracy, a 6% magic damage boost, and some prayer bonus on top. But the real magic behind the Devil's Element is its passive ability to harness the power of the elements. While equipped, the Devil's Element counts as any elemental rune, and it will allow you to double the effectiveness of any elemental weaknesses exploited. There are a ton of fun bosses across Galenor with an elemental weakness which are going to be even more prominent with this item, and may even open some different strategies for you to try. In the previous league, the Tumcan Shadow was everyone's favourite magic item, but this will definitely close the gap for other elemental staffs like the Nightmare Staff to stand at the very top alongside it. A little further to the west is the beautiful green area of Tyranwen.
Me giggling and kicking my feet.
Okay, maybe it's not all beautiful, and for this region's Echo variant, you'll be taking a trip into the heart of Prifddinas to take on
Hit that
the
subscribe
Gauntlet.
button and join
If you're up
the
for the
reaction.
challenge, you'll need to tackle the Corrupted Gauntlet for a chance at the Tyranwen Echo Orb, which, once obtained, allows you to instantly skip the Gauntlet's preparation phase, as should you choose to fight the Echo variant, you'll be geared with a generous Gauntlet setup. This allows you to jump straight into the action with the Echo variant of the Hunter. If you're lucky while fighting this Echo boss, you'll be able to get your hands on the Crystal Blessing. In addition to providing a big boost to prayer bonus, the Crystal Blessing harnesses the power of the Crystal Armor, allowing its accuracy and damage bonuses to be applied to all melee weapons while equipped. For those who aren't all familiar with this gear, a full set of Crystal Armor will give you a combined 30% accuracy and 15% damage bonus. I can definitely think of a few weapons I'd like to try this out with, but I'll leave the experimenting up to you guys. What do you think would pair well with this? Across the sea is the Kingdom of Great Kourend. This massive landscape has a lot of great content to get stuck into, but for this next Echo variant, we'll be travelling to the Farming Guild. At level 65 farming, you'll be able to enter the intermediate tier of the Farming Guild. And after planting and watching your Hespori seed grow into a giant angry plant, you'll be able to fight it, and defeating it will guarantee you the Kourend Echo Orb. Obtaining this will allow you to fight Echo Hespori whenever you want, not requiring you to wait for a seed to grow. Befitting a piece of living nature, the Echo version of Hespori has a chance to drop the Nature's Reprisal, a tribrid weapon capable of using all three combat styles. And what I love about this weapon the most is that even the melee option is a projectile, allowing you to slap on your best suit of armor and attack with melee from a distance. Now, you will need to charge Nature's Reprisal with 1 Nature Rune and 5 Earth Runes per charge, but you'll be rewarded with its incredibly versatile stats. These are absolutely no joke, and I'm expecting total chaos from this item. Grab your tree trunks, we're going to the Chambers of Xeric with this one. The final stop on our tour today takes us to the Shining Kingdom of Varlamore, the newest region in Leagues 5 with so many fun pieces of content to try out.
Doing good, bro. Trying some solo 190 Toa. How you doing? We're doing good. I'm trying to get my head around some of this league stuff. I basically haven't had the bandwidth or the time or the anything to like figure out a plan, so I'm trying to watch some of these videos and we're watching along. You know, I hope a lot of people are interested in leagues. It's basically the only thing I'm gonna do. Oh, Mobile Only said just died on Wardens, was deathless till then. Oh no! Dude, did I make you comment and die? Is that what happened? I feel bad. I'm gonna keep the video going.
If you haven't already managed to do so. If you've been here before, then you'll know where I'm stood right now.
Yeah,
the Fortis Colosseum, one of old school RuneScape's toughest challenges. And who better to test your league prowess than an echo version of Soul Heredit himself. Now, you'll be glad to know that this works a little differently to the other bosses, and that by beating all of the Colosseum waves and Soul Herodit, you will guarantee yourself the Varlamore Echo Orb drop. This will allow you to skip the Colosseum waves to take on the Echo variant of Soul whenever you want. This fight will take you to your absolute limits,
I think I'm
but
going
if you have
Varlamore
what it
this
takes
year.
to defeat
I
Echo
think I'm
Soul,
going
then you
Varlamore.
will have earned a chance to take the Titan's items for yourself. Introducing the Sunlight Spear and the Sunlit Bracers. The Sunlight Spear is a two-handed weapon, boasting some generous defensive stats and an insane amount of melee strength for those big numbers we all know and love. But there is so much more to this weapon. Attacking with the Sunlight Spear grants you a stack of sunlight, up to a maximum of 20 stacks. And this is where the weapon's special attack comes in. Using the special attack will consume 7 sunlight stacks, releasing the built-up energy and hitting every target around you within a 3-tile radius. What's even more impressive about this special attack is that the damage is increased per point of prayer bonus that you have. Good job, the Colosseum might just give you something to help with boosting that. The Sunlight Bracers provide powerful utility through their strong stats, but more importantly, their passive ability, which increases all healing you receive by 100%. Sharks go from healing 20 to 40, and just one Ceratomin brew can heal as much as 128
Bro, he
hit
said
points.
Ceratomin.
And there are a ton of other ways to heal in old school
I've
RuneScape,
only
making
said
this
learning
item
some
incredibly versatile,
movements
no matter
to try
what
to
regions you're
take less
thinking of
damage
going
to
for.
getting them down.
I think
That's
it's safe
what's
to
up.
say that Varlamore is
That's what's
shaping
up.
up to be
Take
an
your time, man.
incredibly exciting
Took me
new
12
region
hours
for
and
this
58
league.
attempts last
And
night
that
to get
concludes
my
our
shit
tour
last
of the
night.
Echo
58
bosses
attempts.
for Leagues 5
42
Raging
deaths.
Echoes. And I hope this hasn't thrown your current plans into absolute confusion. I'm sure absolutely no one out there had their mindset on
Virgo's
what
gonna
regions they were picking. Leagues is the most fun I've ever had in old school RuneScape, and I just know you guys are going to love this one. So make sure you do 3 things before this video ends. Check out the reveals blog on the old school RuneScape website if you want a sneak peek at the daily reveals from now until launch. Link to that in the description, by the way. Also, let me know in the comments what your favorite Echo Boss reward is, and make sure you're locked in and ready for Leagues 5 on November the 27th.
Welcome back to the best time to be old school RuneScape player. We are days away from the Raging Echoes League, starting on Wednesday the 27th of November. My name is Solo Mission, and I'm back to give you my top tips and tricks ahead of this huge release. But first, let me get you up to speed with the basics of the Raging Echoes League. Raging Echoes build on similar foundations to the Trailblazer League. XP and drop rates are massively boosted, you complete tasks to unlock powerful relics that buff your character, and you choose 3 regions to add to the starting areas of Misthalin and Karanja. The big changes in the Raging Echoes League are the introduction of Echo Bosses, which are a powerful boss to defeat in each region that drops a brand new weapon or piece of armor.
Alright. Yo, ReactBot. Can you give me the skibbity on these new Echo bosses? What do you think of them?
True.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, man. Are they gonna be worth it to kill?
Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Okay. So, if you had a choice between...
Would.
Yeah? You would? If you had a choice? Okay.
Another big difference is the
This is
introduction of
giving
combat
off woke
masteries.
vibes.
It takes combat choices out of relics and moves them into an exciting new combat mastery system. I know it's all a lot to take in at once, but this league
As an AI
essentially
language
has 3
model,
main
I am
choices:
unable to
your
react to
regions,
this.
your relics, and your combat masteries. And today, hopefully I can help guide you through some of those picks and give you some extra tips and
Mind if
tricks
I
along the way.
do?
So let's begin. You're logging in fresh to the Raging Echoes League for the first time on Wednesday, and you spawn into the starting region of Misthalin and Karanja in
what the
Lumbridge.
Sigma?
Instantly, you're met with a relic choice: Power Miner, Lumberjack, or Animal Wrangler. These relics essentially massively buff each gathering skill, mining,
Is he
woodcutting, and
stupid?
fishing. Your success rate is greatly improved in each, meaning that traditionally slow methods such as mining rune rocks, cooking magic trees, or fishing sharks are all actually pretty good XP now. But for me,
This
it's their
reminds me of I
secondary
Just Eat.
effects that make
Rip
the
and
difference
fly
in
high,
this
queen.
choice. Power Miner smelts your ores and banks them. Lumberjack either banks, burns, or fletches your logs into arrow shafts, and Animal Wrangler
bored.
banks your
Let's
fish with a
watch
chance
Family
to
Guy
cook them,
funnies.
and then speeds up your hunter with extra perks. My pick here is Animal Wrangler because hunter is not buffed through any other relic, and banking fish
I don't
unlocks a
know what I
25-minute
expected.
AFK method with Karambans. I'm not a fan of Lumberjack because woodcutting, fire making, fletching are pretty easy skills on an Iron Man, and then I think you could make the case for Power Miner if your
alright.
regions lack smithing options, although smithing is helped out in many relics down the line. Early polling in the League's Discord seems to agree with this line of thinking, and that brings me on to my next tip. Join
I
the
don't
Old
get
School
it.
RuneScape League's Discord. I'm always in here because there's a ton of valuable information, insight from JMods, useful guides, discussion, group finding, and a good time to be had. The
Not
link
funny.
will be in the
Didn't laugh.
description. So you've made your first relic choice, now what? Tasks! Right out of the gate, the best thing you can do is to complete your league tasks for progress. Rushing to your first few
This
relic
isn't
unlocks is
nearly
essential
as
for
epic
fast
as
progress. It's a
bacon.
good idea to save longer grinds until you have better passive modifiers. For example, you'll probably get selected within an hour or so, which takes your XP modifier from 5x to 8x. And then you have another relic choice to make. I'm not going to do a deep dive on every relic tier, but in tier 2, you have an agility buff in Corner Cutter, a herb
I
buff
give it a
in
2
Friendly Forager, and
out
a
of
healing
5.
buff in Dodge and Heals. This choice does bring up an important tip. I think one of the hardest skills to train and manage in a
This
league
is why I
herb
love
lore.
America.
Where are your herbs going to come from? Remember, Taronwyn, Wilderness Desert, and the starter regions don't have any herb patches. Secondary ingredients can be challenging too. I remember the first Trailblazer
That
League,
didn't
I was
age
in
well.
Tarn's Lair killing zombies for ranging potions. Not the best. There are great herb lore options down the line with Pocket Kingdom and Overgrown, but they're up against a very popular
Leave a comment if you
One
thought that
saving
was
grace and
crazy.
farming cycles are 5 times faster on the league, but it's up to you if you want to spend your time doing eternal farm runs. Tier 2 is too close to
More of
call.
this,
All the
please.
options are very well balanced, and I still haven't decided myself yet. I'd say it probably depends a bit on your region. Yes, regions. Around this time, you do a few more tasks and you should be unlocking your first one. Remember, you can choose 3 different regions in Raging Echoes League, but which one should you choose first? I'd say a good first region unlocks
White people be
resources,
like-
good training methods, and has easy tasks for you to progress. Based on the previous leagues, I'd say Desert, Fremenic, Wilderness, Kandrin, and probably Varlamore are pretty good.
Gonna show this to Gam Gam.
Taronwyn could be okay, kind of depends on your relic choices, and then bad areas to take first, Asgarnia, Zaya, Mauritania. They're just way too late
Wow,
game.
they look like they work out. Like this if you're watching in 2025. Like this if you're watching in 2025. It's a no for me. It's a no for me. Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him? Okay, hear me out. Okay, hear me out. My hungry ass could not. Have easy points though. When you unlock your first region, go around, whip up all the free and easy points, and you'll probably be at your tier 3 relic. To make your tier 3 pick, I want you to take a look at the teleport locations on this map and tell me which looks better, red, yellow, or green. Oh, they all look pretty similar? Well, that's because they are. Until you factor in the extra abilities of Clue Compass to teleport you to your next clue step, teleport you right into Shiloh Bank, or even teleport you close to this fairy ring in the Enchanted Valley. With the unique locations as well, Clue Compass just gives so much value teleporting to stash units. I don't think it will be close, and I think this will be the most picked relic of any tier this league. So don't fumble the compass. But anyway, I'd argue bigger news at the tier 3 relic is you now gain an additional 2 times combat XP multiplier. So at this very early point in time, you'll get 16 times in all your combat stats. And this extra multiplier will help propel you towards combat masteries, which are coming up very soon. The second passive here is you get some incredible Slayer perks, which give loads of Slayer points. And this is a quick tip for the pros: if you're under 50 combat, you gain access to lower level Slayer tasks, which you can use to boost for Slayer points. Cows, goblins, minotaurs, and zombies, the dream start to Slayer. Another pro tip is that Jagex have put together a League's promotional package for new and returning players where you can sign up between November 26th and December 3rd for a discounted subscription. And this will last for the full 57 days no matter when you sign up during the window. This really is ideal for anyone that's looking to dive into Leagues for the fast-paced action without a long-term commitment. So you've hit tier 3, and now I'm going to suggest that you do a few more tasks. I know I'm a broken record, but this is definitely the best thing to do. Tier 4 is a godsend. Just push through some more tasks. Little tip for doing tasks quickly and efficiently: I actually prefer to use the wiki, so I can control F and then just go down and search for keywords. You can also see the regions that tasks can be completed in and any extra notes that you might find useful. The tier 4 relic choice is a big one. Reloaded is incredibly interesting. It allows you to go back to a previous relic tier and select a relic you passed up on the first time. So if anything was looking juicy and you didn't pick it, now's the time. And then there is Golden God. And in choosing Golden God, it essentially means you're passing up on 7 other relics. And personally, I think it's worth the choice. Golden God is a titan, and its benefits are threefold. The first is auto-alking that continues even through other activities. So instantly you're racking up a passive 1 million magic XP per hour. The second is that you can profit massively from buying alchable items. In the best case scenario, you have access to a stonemason in Valamor or Fremennik, and you can buy and out condensed gold for 2 bill profit per hour. In the worst case scenario, you can alch D-longs for 40 mil cash per hour. And the third aspect is you can use 20k coins on a prayer training altar to have the same effect as a dragon bone. This means you can get 99 prayer in under an hour in any region. The snowball from Golden God is unmatched. Essentially, you get infinite money, which unlocks GP tasks, construction methods, crafting, smithing, and fletching supplies. So for most people, I think Golden God is the move here, especially if you have limited time to play. Okay, I know I've been shilling hard for certain relics up until this point, but I'd say from here on out, the relic tiers are pretty balanced. And for me, tier 4 is a significant turning point. The passive here means you unlock the highest drop multiplier of 5 times. And that's a huge difference with Raging Echoes. You now have the top drop rate modifier, you have bonus combat XP modifiers, and I think after tier 4 with Golden God going crazy, it's the perfect time to get into your combat masteries. Combat masteries are an entirely different system to the points and tasks and relics you love. There are 10 separate combat mastery tasks for you to complete, and every time you do one of these tasks, you can unlock a combat mastery. Each combat mastery is a buff to a certain style of combat: melee, range, or mage. And the combat masteries make up a skill tree with each main style as a branch of this tree. The further along a branch you go, the stronger you get in that style. Note that for each tier, you also gain a passive mastery as you progress down the branches. If we're thinking about progression here, let's go back to the combat mastery tasks, as I think at this point in the game, it's a really good idea to start working towards some of these. The easiest is to defeat a giant. You can pretty much do this as soon as you spawn into the game in the Varrock sewer. Then defeat 10 monsters above level 100 combat. These don't have to be unique. I'd recommend red dragons, blue dragons, black demons, all in the starter area. There's also a mastery to defeat Scurious by yourself. You're probably going to want protection prayers for that. Kill a Slayer monster with a requirement of level 55 or higher. At 57, you can kill a mutated Zygamite in the starter zones. Achieving a combat level of 100 is doable after a few hours of combat with all the modifiers. And the 6th mastery I'm going to highlight here is to defeat Tuztok Jad in the fight caves. And I believe with all the masteries and the relics under your belt, you've got that in the bag. So that's 6 mastery points that I believe the vast majority of people can get themselves quite easily. Now, how should you spend your first 6 mastery points? Well, I would strongly recommend dumping all 6 of them into the same style. This way you unlock all the passives, and most monsters can be killed with any style in RuneScape, so you may as well double down and max out damage in one. As for which branch to go down, they're all actually pretty similar. You get a damage increase at tier 1 and tier 2, an attack rate buff at tier 3 and tier 5, and a healing buff at tier 4. They do differ a bit on tier 6 though. For now, I want to focus on tier 5, where his attack rate is set to 50% and rounded down above 5 tick and rounded up below 4 tick. This buff throws off your RuneScape senses, as not all weapons are treated fairly here. For example, something like a Carol's crossbow in max gear is easily outclassed by the slower naked rune crossbow. So what combat style should you go for? Let's have a look at the tier 6 masteries to try and decide. The melee branch introduces a concept called echoes that have an additional chance to hit a target, and the more hits means the more chances, which is pretty cool for certain weapons. Melee also tends to have a very smooth combat progression progression, as there are just so many weapons to choose from, and another side effect of this is that melee has by far the most special attacks. If you really want to ramp this up, I would choose the Specialist Relic, and you're bound to have a ton of fun with melee. With tier 6 range, you never miss, which has crazy implications for how you play RuneScape. Range bosses in places that seemed impossible, wear any armor and it won't even affect your damage output. Fashionscape, a big tanky setup, unironically good. Range will be your best friend if you want to try and beat some new content in this league, however it can be a little bit tough to get going. But here's a little tip for you. For the first time this league, everyone has access to the bone crossbow, and when you hit tier 3 range, you can smith some knives and go one-ticking with them, which should make things easier. When you get to tier 6 magic, you can execute your enemies. If your max hit is higher than their health, then you will always one-shot them. This is incredibly useful, buffing damage a lot for Slayer and PvM with lots of monsters. Magic is also generally the easiest style to get going, as you have constant progression unlocking new spells. One downside is a lack of diversity in endgame magic options, but this league you do have some nice echo equipment that should close the gap. Which ties into my next tip. At this point, you're so strong with your masteries, go and have a try of the Echo bosses. The upgrades they offer are game-changing, and I can't imagine they'll be that rare to get either. In leagues, I'd encourage you to try content early. You're so powerful that generally you can do things earlier than you think you can. The rewards of Echo items or incredibly fast points await. So take a look at what Echo bosses are on offer, and use that to inform the third big choice you have to make: your regions. My number one rule for choosing regions is to pick them for the content you think you'll enjoy, not necessarily their rewards. There's no use in being super duper optimized without the content to enjoy yourself doing. Also, this league is a great opportunity to try out that raid that you've never done, or even properly explore a new area in Valamore, which has so much content it's now its own region. But if you are a sweaty min-maxer, then I have a few tips that you might not have considered. The Old School Wiki has a DPS calculator that you can easily use to compare different builds with any gear or combat masteries you want. You might also have your eyes set on raids, which do see a few huge changes. Everyone can now get a purple chest in hard mode Theatre of Blood and Tombs of a Massacre, but there is a hard cap of 55% on TOA purples. The biggest change is the introduction of the Mega Rare ticket. If you would have rolled a Mega Rare on the drop table, instead you get a ticket that you can take to the Sage in Lumbridge to choose between a Scythe, a T-bow, or a Shadow. But beware!
Bear says, "Hey Chief, sweet backpack. Thanks, bud. Finally got it last night. 12 hours of trying, 58 attempts, 42 deaths. Finally capped it. Copped it. Thank you very much. How you doing, Bear? Thanks for tuning in."
I have witnessed many league plans go up in smoke over chasing a Mega Rare on a long dry streak, and because of this, I have my eyes set on hard mode Theatre of Blood as the fastest way to get this Mega Rare ticket by far. So much so that this has actually convinced me to lock in Mauritania as one of my regions. And what else am I deciding on? Well, you're just gonna have to find out on Wednesday. But if there's one tip you take away from this video, it's that you have to play the Raging Echoes League. Last league, we hit an all-time high for player numbers on Old School RuneScape, and the reason is, Leagues is just such an incredible game mode. I think is the best way to experience this game. Now, we've got all the information, I've got a plan to write. I'll see you on the 27th.
Hey Reactbot, what did you think of that?
Subscribe to me because I curate only the best stuff.
Good. That's the best kind of reaction.
The vibe I bring to the function.
Leagues is about to be upon us in a few days.
And the hype is massive this time. Leagues is a temporary Iron Man locked game mode in which you are locked to specific areas, unlocking more by completing various tasks of varying difficulty. XP rates are massively buffed, and there are relics that can be unlocked for massive buffs to skills, utility, and combat. This league boasts a unique Echo boss fight in each region, with incredibly powerful item drops. Decision making is really important in leagues, so let's go over what you need to know to make your time with leagues the most enjoyable. For the most part, keep in mind that this is my perspective, having fun. This is not a min-maxing point spreadsheet, and choosing something that is not a meta pick to have more fun elsewhere is never a bad idea. Let's first go over the areas. We all are going to start with Mistalin and Karamja unlocked to begin with. These starter areas do not come with an Echo boss variant. Completing tasks will allow us to choose a first, second, and third region.
Not only is your choice of regions important, but also the order you pick them is important as well, as picking a first region without much early game boost can make your experience a lot harder. Important things to note this time around are that each raid can drop a mega rare note instead of your typical Scythe, T-Bow, or Shadow. This means every raid has access to every single mega rare item, meaning you aren't locked to a specific raid for a specific build. Raids also drop purples to every single person in the team should anyone roll one, meaning group raids are going to farm purples extremely quickly. One final note is that any boss that drops a partial drop that needs to be combined with something to finish it, Ultor Rings, Rancor, Avernic, are all dropped as the completed item this league. That means if you pick Mauritania, you won't need Asgarnia to finish an Avernic Defender, for example. Mauritania. This area has an incredible amount of value for combat-related activities as well as skilling. Theater of Blood is here, of course, but also Araxor, Nightmare, and of course Echo Grotesques. Gargalons drop the Gloves of the Damned, doubling the effect of Barrows sets. Now the only relevant set is, of course, Darox, giving a double damage bonus. Darox is the highest possible DPS in leagues over any other build, at 1 HP, making it a very powerful choice for melee builds. Araxor also drops the Amulet of Rancor and Noxious Halberd. Trouble Brewing, Sepulchre, and the Slayer Tower are all in this region for massive skilling gains, as well as Blood Shards for Blood Fury. Overall, this is a must-pick for melee, and a solid option for the other builds as well. Desert. This area's Echo boss is Calphite Queen, and she drops the Drygore Blowpipe, a Fang Blowpipe hybrid. This is a very good flex ranged weapon for other builds, and a solid option for ranging early. The desert also has Telwa, dropping Masori, Fang, and Lightbearer. Alcarid has the Mage Training Arena for solid mage gear and training. This is massively buffed from prior leagues, by the way. And the Gem Stall for easy crafting, training, and money. Temperos is also down here for solid fishing gains. The desert seems like an excellent ranged build choice, but can easily accommodate the other styles as well. Wilderness. Now this is not my cup of tea, but it's a great choice for overall points for Dragon Cup grinding. The Wilderness includes Echo KBD, who drops the Thunder Kopesh, and the 1000 Dragon Ward. The Kopesh is a souped-up Voidwaker, calling a double lightning attack when you spec with it, as well as AoE lightning strikes as you use auto attacks. Amazing for Wildy Slayer tasks. The Ward is simply an Avernic with decent defensive stats that also protects you from all status effects. It's a bit less important, but solid stats regardless. This area has the Chaos Altar for rapid prayer training, as well as Black Chinchampas, Dark Crabs, Zombie Pirates, and buffed Wilderness Agility. Keep in mind a lot of builds can kill you in a single game tick, and the Wilderness is likely going to be a lot more active than the last leagues. Asgarnia. This area includes the God Wars Dungeon and Cerberus, which is very important for both melee and ranged builds for amazing spec weapons. Echo Cerberus is this area's boss, and he drops a combination of all 4 God Swords, the Dog Sword. This is a very powerful DPS spec weapon and defense training weapon all in one. Next also drops the ZCB and Torba Armor, making this area important for spec relic users in general. This area also includes the Warriors Guild for defenders, and a gem stall in Falador that can be used for money and crafting. Don't forget we also get Pest Control for Void here, which is actually the best DPS gear for range this league, even over Masori. Fremenic? Fremi has the DKs dropping powerful jewelry, so of course the Echo Boss is the DKs dropping an amulet and ring with incredibly souped up stats. The Amulet of the Monarchs alone has more range strength than all ranged boosting items combined, as well as the Emperor ring with plus 15 range strength as well. Maximum range strength in Max Abyss range gear in the normal game is plus 21 before weapons. In leagues with this jewelry alone, it's at plus 30. These both in total also provide plus 15% magic damage, which is absolutely ridiculous. Any ranged build or magic build practically has to take this region for the sheer power of these items. Melee is also boosted a ton, but it's a bit less extreme over the Ultor Ring and Rancor if you have those from other regions, making this a potential skip for melee builds. Fremi also includes Vorkath, who drops a ton of useful items, including Dragon Darts. Kandarin. This is by far the weakest region, and there's very little reason to pick it. This Echo Boss is Thermi, dropping the Devil's Element offhand. This boosts elemental weaknesses by 2 times where applicable. Very few bosses in the game have elemental weaknesses, and very few of them are in raids. Piety is unlocked here, but this can be avoided with the Grimoire Relic. There's a lot of general decent training areas, but overall this region has very little to offer compared to others. Tyranwin. The elf lanes this time have Echo Hunyef, dropping the Crystal Blessing. This makes Crystal Armor's bonus apply to melee gear. This is dramatically better than Torva, usually roughly 10% better DPS overall. They've stated that in fighting him, there will be no prep phase, and you'll be handed a full prep and full tier 3 arsenal to fight him with. Zulrah is in this area with the blowpipe, which actually has more range strength than the Kalphite Queen's pipe, and full trident drops. This area has a decent amount of utility for skilling by giving you access to Prif, with Elf Thieving, Zalcano, the Ore Mines, and Crystal Imps. Overall, I think this area is a bit too small to benefit any build much. Only melee really sees a ton of benefit out of that crystal armor, and even then, picking a different region might benefit the account more. Zaya. Hespori Blicky. Hespori Blicky. This is not a drill. Yeah, they made Hespori the Echo boss here. And it drops a super salamander. It has a 5-tick attack speed. It is not powerful, but it is very funny. There are a lot of reasons to pick Zaya, but the Echo boss is definitely not it. What this region does offer is Chambers, Konar, and her Slayer dungeon with Hydra, Winter Taught, Sarachnis, and various means of training all kinds of skills in the different sub-regions. This region is particularly good for mages who can get both a Shadow and Ancestral Rogues here, but also as a potential flex for a melee build with the plethora of good spec weapons, Bulwark, Claws, and Elder Maul. Varlamore. This is actually a new area added with this league, and it has the most dangerous Echo boss, Echo Soul. This is the only boss that they have put in the Grandmaster tier of difficulty, meaning he hopefully will be a PVMer's wet dream. He will not include the waves, with us immediately jumping in and fighting him again after dropping. He drops 2 unique items, the Sunlight Bracers, which are gloves with fairly high stats in general, that simply double all healing from all sources, including things like Redemption, Blood Fury, etc., as well as the Sunlight Spear, a 2-handed spear shield combo that has a unique stacking special attack similar to the Soul Reaper Axe that can unleash a massive AoE spec that scales with prayer bonus after 7 auto attacks. The weapon is fairly weak in comparison to other options actually, and those gloves, while useful, are a bit boring in design. Besides just Soul, this area has very much to offer. Coliseum in general is an amazing money generator, as well as providing Echo Boots and the Glaive, and Quiver of course. Moons has some very powerful early game gear sets, and Vardorvis is actually a part of this region this time as well. Early skilling options are ridiculous here, boasting the greatest stocked gem stall in the game, House Thieving, Prayer Training, Prayer Mining, Sulfur Nagas for combat XP, and much more. This region does not particularly boost any build dramatically, but it will be a very fun region to mess with regardless. This chart has every area and their unique boss drops as well. Very useful to refer to in a pinch. I'll leave a link to the wiki page that includes this in the description. Combat Masteries. So this is a new system that they are rolling out with this league. Effectively, this is a separate relic system purely for combat and unlocked through doing very specific combat tasks. These are actually incredibly easy to unlock, and you can feasibly unlock your 2-tick attack speed for your style in the first day.
And you can feasibly unlock your 2-tick attack speed for your
style in the first day without much effort. Defeat a giant, literally kill a hill giant. Defeat 10 monsters over 100 combat. Kill Scurious. Kill a monster requiring 55 Slayer. Defeat Jad, and reach 100 combat is all that is needed for the final tier. The bonus 4 points are for killing your Echo bosses and defeating Zuck. Each combat style has up to 6 points that can be spent on it, with a total of 10 points being possible throughout the league. Each of these unlocks also unlocks a passive ability, saving weapon charges into healing more, into increased accuracy, into damage reduction, into prayer point increase, and finally into prayer penetration. So let's go over each build. For melee, so these unlocks are all about generating additional attacks. The first is a 25% chance to roll twice and take the higher roll, which is actually quite a big increase in average DPS. The second is a 10% chance to generate an Echo hit, which deals 50% of your initial hit. It's actually a lot less DPS than the first tier, but it has the potential to generate a massive hit, which is a lot of fun. Tier 3 is 80% attack speed rounded down, so this will make your early 4-tick weapons like Rune Scimitar quite a bit stronger. Tier 4 is a 5% chance to heal 40% of damage dealt. This is equivalent to 1/3 of a Blood Fury permanently attached to yourself, but you're healing larger amounts just more rarely. This in combination with Echo attacks means we will be healing a lot. Tier 5 is the important one, 50% attack speed rounded down. so this is a 2-tick Scythe and 3-tick Darok set. Finally, Tier 6 is Echoes are increased to a 20% chance, and they can chain off each other up to 8 times. This is a 1 in 80,000 chance to occur, so you'll probably see that maybe once during the whole league. But basically, this is a relatively small increase to DPS, but allows for some crazy RNG boss kill times. It'll be a lot of fun to use. Overall, melee is a very solid choice, but the next one caught my eye as a lot stronger, which is ranged. The last tier of this is our important one. So the first is damage rolls. These have a minimum of 30% of your max hit, which is incredibly good with fast weapons. Tier 2 is each subsequent ranged hit has its max hit increased by 5%, stacking up to 20% and then resetting. And this can probably be gamed with stronger weapons on the last hit for a bit more damage. Third is faster attack speed as before. This one is important though because you have 2-tick weapons for ranged that will decrease down to 1-tick already at tier 3, meaning you have your 1-tick blowpipe within seconds of starting the game. Fourth is every 5th ranged hit heals 5 hit points. This is reliable HP, meaning you can use it for tick eats, assuming you hit, which is kind of interesting. Fifth is the same as melee, your 2-tick T-bow, 2-tick ZCP, extremely powerful. Finally is the arguably best upgrade of any style, ranged attacks no longer miss. Oh no, Mr. Bloat has 800 range defense. Good thing my blowpipe doesn't care. Oh, what's this? Soul has 825. 2-tick turbo says goodbye. Range is stupidly busted good this time, and that's why. Alright, magic? This appears to be the weakest build this time around. Which is convenient because I picked it last time. The first tier is when you roll above 90% of your max hit, you hit 50% harder. Decent when you hit, but that is really rare for it to proc. Second is magic max hit is increased by 5% per tick in between attacks. Now I don't fully know how this is calculated. Is it lost ticks when you aren't on cooldown or just any ticks between attacks? I don't really care, it's super bad either way. This is so weak compared to any of the other upgrades on the other weapon styles. Tier 3 is that faster attack speed like the others. Tier 4 is when you roll over 90% of your max hit, you heal 10% of what is dealt. Magic actually seems to heal far more than the other styles, and this would ideally stack with Blood Barrage. Fifth is the same as the others, 2-tick Shadow and Barrage. Finally is, max hit is increased by 1% for every 100 hit points remaining on target, up to 10%. You couldn't even give us more if they had more health, really. Okay. If target is below max hit of your weapon, you max. This is so weak compared to the magic of last leagues, it makes me think they just saw that it had a high pick rate and they wanted to squash it. Hey, at least we have the Devil's Element to cast a 100 max hit Fire Surge at Ice Demon. Magic just doesn't seem to be it this time. Just unlucky. It's unlucky. Alright, let's move on to the different relics this time around. So for Tier 1, do you want to buff Mining, Woodcutting, or both Fishing and Hunter, and in magnitudes larger than the others? Yeah, the Harpoon Relic is absurdly better than the other options. It affects multiple skills in major ways and benefits you the most. The Hunter perks are incredibly valuable with faster chins and traps that never fail. It's especially good with the Hunter Guild in Varlamore. The Woodcutting Relic's additional skill buff to firemaking being impossible to fail lighting a log on fire is bafflingly bad. AFK and Karambwan with the Fishing Relic will be a great source of food, and a benefit to a later relic, which we will talk about. For Tier 2 relics, Forager is my clear choice out of the 3. Buffing Herb is always solid for any Iron Man related game mode, and the collection of herbs as you gather resources means that our little AFK Fishing Relic will get a ton of mileage. Saving secondaries while making potions 90% of the time and making 4-dose potions means I will never have to do an herb run over the entire league. I also can train herb with mixology using only the herbs I've found if I need the level to make brews or something. There's potentially tech with filling the pouch with garbage herbs like guams before you go train your skills for guaranteed rolls at higher tier herbs, but I have no idea if it will work like that. Buffing agility so you can passively train it is kinda nice, but I already have access to Sepulchre with my regions, and agility really isn't that ususeful anyways with unlimited run energy. Dodgy deals for thieving massive amounts of GP and blood shards is definitely interesting, but it's a clear second choice over buffing herb. Being able to AFK at Tizhar, who have no coin pouches, is also very enticing. It's assuming you have ice gloves to be able to pickpocket them at all. For Tier 3 relics, these are all teleport relics. Teleport to a bank, fairy ring, or everything I just said in every single clue location in the game. Okay, so just like the last tier, this has a clear best relic. All of these choices are irrelevant because Clue Compass does what the other relics do. If you want to teleport to a bank, you just teleport to Shiloh Clue Stash, ta-da, bank acquired. There's a stash in the Enchanted Valley nearby a fairy ring as well, so you have that covered. If you don't even want to do clues, you can just get a decent clue step and leave it as a teleport option for later. The stash near Barrows Brothers seems particularly abusable, especially especially with last recall. For tier 4 relics, Golden God is a solid relic for prayer training and gathering money, but I'm going to be choosing Reloaded, allowing me to take dodgy deals instead. Thieving options in my region include a Splash in the Enchanted Valley. All of these choices are irrelevant because Clue Compass does what the other relics do. If you want to teleport to a bank, you just teleport to Shiloh Clue Stash, ta-da, bank acquired. There's a stash in the Enchanted Valley nearby a fairy ring as well, so you have that covered. If you don't even want to do clues, you can just get a decent clue step and leave it as a teleport option for later. The stash near Bears Brothers seems particularly abusable, especially with last recall. For tier 4 relics, Golden God is a solid relic for prayer training and gathering money, but I'm going to be choosing Reloaded, allowing me to take dodgy deals instead. Thieving options in my region include Vyres for blood shards, Wealthy Citizens for massive amounts of GP, and Tizar with the ice gloves from Asgarnia for completely AFK training. Because they
Did we lose the video?
AFK training because they don't have coin pouches. The prayer